Hey everybody, thanks for tuning in to the Games Done Quick Hotfix. Welcome to Time Capsule. It is the show where we travel back in time to your favorite years in gaming and showcase awesome speedruns of games released in the same year. I'm your host, Smooth Operative. Tonight we are headed back to the year 2015 with speedruns of Splatoon and later Tearaway Unfolded. But before we get into it, let's cover a couple of announcements. First of all, registration is live for Awesome Games Done Quick 2024. So if you'd like to attend the event in person, January 14th through the 21st, go to gamesdonequick.com for more information, including attendee registration and hotel booking. Be sure to check out the schedule at gamesdonequick.com/schedule and let us know what you're hoping to see the most. We also have some news on the upcoming Frame Fatales event, that being Frost Fatales happening March 3rd through the 10th of next year. Frost Fatales 2024 run submissions and studio applications are now open for all women in speedrunning, so if that sounds interesting to you, you can use the command !FF in our Twitch chat or go to gamesdonequick.com/framefatales for more information. Alrighty, that being said, my friends, let's fire this show up with a speedrun of Splatoon. Please welcome our very first runner tonight, and that is Cloud. Hello.
Hello everyone, I'm Cloud. I'm going to be running Splatoon 80%. And here I have my commentator Lontro.
Yeah, what's up everyone? I'm Lontro. Splatoon 1 80%. Splatoon 1 80%'s biggest fan, let's just say. Joining Cloud here today. We're gonna watch a sub 30 go down with all the new tricks, new strats. It's gonna be a good time.
Yeah. Okay,
No
so
pressure.
first of all, I'm going to create my Inkling. And the first thing I'm going to do is going through the tutorial. Then we're going to see an introduction for the plaza and all the things from the game. And we're going to do Octo Valley. Timer will end when we hit the last hit on Octavio. So we're going to start in 3, 2, 1, go.
Good luck.
Let's get it.
Alright. First we have the tutorial, you know. And
Tutorial. We got the Splatter Shot Junior popping some balloons. But if you've never seen Splatoon before, you got an ink weapon. It fires ink in front of you. You can go into squid form to swim in that ink faster, or in kid form to, like, you know, you fire the Splatter Shot Junior, throw out sub weapons like a splat bomb, shoot ink down, you move in ink, you make platforming happen, do some movement. It's all a good time. A little bit of combat sprinkled in. We're just getting through tutorial here. We all love tutorial. The Splatter Shot Junior is known for having zero accuracy whatsoever. See if the walls cooperate. Wait, it painted a straight line? That's impossible.
yeah. I'll go to 50, let's go.
Let's go. We're already doing better than Joey. Let me tell you something. But before we can get into Octo Valley, we got to get through a little bit of news first. You know, it's the Squid Sisters. You got to stay
Let's go.
fresh.
Also, I'm playing on Japanese because
Oh, I was
it's
going to
faster.
say, yeah. Yeah, Japanese is, I want to say 25 or 30 seconds faster than English now. We used to have an exact number, but the routes changed a little bit. We're going to see that soon, but still a lot of time save. Are you playing on 1.0 as well?
Yeah, I'm playing on 1.0.
1.0 is a
being
few seconds
optimal.
faster too. Optimal, that's what we like to see.
But not really optimal because I'm playing on digital.
Ah, well. What can you do, really?
Yeah.
At least your Wii U doesn't make extremely loud noises every time it tries to spin a disc, you know?
Yeah.
I could hear it from the other room.
Also, for those who don't know, playing on disc is faster, at least in this game. I used to see other Wii
think
games
it's-
being faster.
I think
For some
discs
games.
are faster for quite a few Wii U games. I think Breath of the Wild was also faster on
Yeah,
Wii U
Breath
disc
of the Wild
than Wii U
is
digital.
faster on disc. But some
Yeah.
others are not, like Mario Kart 8 is faster on digital.
Oh,
And Sonic
actually, I had no
Lost
idea.
World, but no one played Sonic Lost World on Wii U.
Right. Because a lot of the Wii U games are just on Switch anyway, so. Except for this gem, they could never recreate its beautiful SingView player. Yeah, finish a little chat with Cuttlefish. That's like most of the reason why Japanese is faster, because if you've seen that text on English, it's very slow. We're getting into level 1. I think of level 1 as like the aim lab stage. You got a ton of enemies, you gotta snap shots.
Aim lab.
It's the aim lab stage. Warm up. But instead of having the Splatter Shot Junior that we had in the intro, we actually have the Hero Shot now, which can fire in a straight line sometimes. Unless you're jumping, then it's bad. But use the bombs as well to distract the enemies on the side, make them turn around. Get around those shields. Honestly, chill and getting through them all. We get through level 1. This is the first time with a little bit of a key. The key at a part of a stage, it opens up a lockbox. You open up the lockbox, you get further in the stage, yada yada. Lock and key. Great concept. Another key like in this corner here. Wish we had Seekers right now. Could you imagine if you had Seekers in level 1 to go across these parts instead of just inking?
That would be sick. If we had Seekers in the first 2 levels or first one, will feel like New Game Plus.
It actually would, yeah. Another thing we're trying to do right now, though, is to get those Seekers. And to get those Seekers, we need 100 power eggs to do it. Out of level 1, we're trying to have like 45 or so, and then we'll get the rest in level 2. And then after that, we'll have Seekers for the rest of the game. And then eventually get burst bombs, too. But that's later. Level 2. Fun times for a speedrunner. We all just love this stage because there's a global cycle that you have to make. And sometimes the hero shot does not cooperate in you wanting to get this global cycle.
Yeah,
like right there. What was that wall?
I love the range in this game. It's really amazing. It doesn't read my faces every time. Surely.
Of course not. Of course not. It would never. Okay. We're fine though. These are octoballs. You want to get them stuck in ink before they get started moving, because they can just knock you back, knock you off the stage really easily. And they don't work half the time, but we're getting around. But we really got to keep up the pace as we go through this stage to actually get the fast cycle. And the armor is 10 extra power eggs as well. That'll help us get Seekers after this.
Oopsie.
You're fine. I think.
I think I'm fine.
I think, yeah. I think it's fine. Surely. This is the cycle we're talking about. We're trying to get it to this moving platform before the wall. Oh, what is that? Oh. Okay. You know what? It's fine, actually. Okay.
It's fine.
We'll get up on the next one. Yeah, we'll get up on the next one. That's actually okay. That's the cycle we're trying to make, but the shot RNG from the hero shot there really did not want to cooperate. It just left a massive gap. There's nothing you can really do about that once you're on the wall. So
yeah, the only thing you can do is reset.
Yeah, but can't reset a showcase. We're still gonna be just fine. You drop one cycle, it's no big deal. We get those Seekers. We're back on track.
I love this bomb. It's really amazing.
Oh, fellow Redder DG, we love shot RNG, don't we all? We all love cannonless.
Cannonless is amazing. And we are not talking about that other game. We are talking about Splatoon. We are not talking about SM64.
Da-da-da-da-da-da. Well, now we're in level 3. We got Seekers unlocked in between stages here, and we use them all the time because there's long stretches of enemy ink, and Seekers are perfect for covering that. They cover a long straight line, and they can track onto enemies and take down an enemy as well. But they have a little bit of a startup animation, so... and cost a lot of ink. You gotta use them smart. Ooh, right side, fast.
Yay!
Oh, it's actually clean though.
Also, the music in this level is really good. I'm just vibing right now.
Splatoon 1's music is actually such a bop.
Yeah.
You get the funky beats at level 23 that go ba 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 ba, and it's like stressful at the same time because it's level 23 on pace.
Yeah, 23 is a thing actually.
The gatekeeper. I mean, it's one of them.
Yeah. And now we have the first boss.
First boss, Octostomp. We're going to be doing something here called the Rapid Fire Glitch, or RFGs for short. RFGs work because every time you change sub-weapons in this game while firing with the hero shot, it fires one extra shot. So if you rapidly switch between the D-pad, it puts out way more shots from the hero shot. It makes each tentacle kill go from like 3 seconds or something to 1 if you're really fast with it. And we're going to see that right away.
I'm not that fast.
And it's also really difficult on Octostomp here because you only have 2 subs right now. That was fine. Compared to having 3 subs once you have Burst Bomb, it's way easier with 3. Because you have, you know, more D-pad options to press.
And also we're going to see these RFVs with Octavio, which you will see some crazy stuff.
Yeah. Octavio is going to be fast. Oh, you're cruising through those. That's nice. It's pretty simple, though. See, I was running Octo expansion today, and the equivalent for this boss fight is so much worse. You go back and look at the Splatoon 1 version, it's like, wow, you could just go up the sides for free? Oh, that's great. Go up RFG. Bang.
Yay.
Yeah, getting out of World 1 in just over 10 minutes, that's great. All it really was is a catalyst cycle, and what are you going to do about that? So, very nice. But yeah, now, in old any percent used to be around 50 minutes long. You would play World 2, you'd play World 3, and then you would do World 4 skip, which has been a thing since like 2015 at this point. But the estimate for this run is 35 minutes, so what happened, you know? What we're going to do is set up jump storage on this rail to store a rail jump. But to make this easier, we're going to go to World 2 and unlock a stage, so we don't have to do it for World 1 side.
Yeah, you can do it.
Because World 1 setup sucks!
Yeah. In fact, the first time I tried that, I got it first try, but then I couldn't get it because it sucks. It's hard.
It's really hard, yeah. But as you can see there, got a massive amount of height on the rail, and as long as we do our inputs correctly, we're going to keep getting that massive amount of height. So that's 1, that's 2, and the kettle in World 4 loads in there, and we pause to keep it loaded in, but the bomb still explodes. So that's 1 bomb worth of damage, and we still got jump storage. 1, 2, bang. Another bomb.
Wait.
Oh, it rolled off. Oh, that's okay. Damn. You still got storage. 1, 2. Good timings, though. Ah, that one worked. Now, we can go straight from this World 2 to World 4 level 18.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, that's happened to me so many times, you actually have no idea.
Yeah.
But
that's
now we're going to do the old classic trick. World 4 skip. Gotta line this up real quick. Oh, close one. It's a 3 pixel gap on the right side to actually clear that, so it's very precise.
Also on the left you have 1 pixel gap.
Yeah. Left side is just a meme, really.
Well,
ooh, second try. Nice. Good skips. Good skips. Then we seeker down here, and we go to World 5. Now, despite not playing any of the rest of the levels in the game, if we beat all of the levels at World 5, the kettle to the final boss will still open up, and we'll be able to beat the game that way. So we don't even need to play any of the rest of the levels in the game. We just gotta beat World 5 now. And that starts at 24. Cycles!
Yay, we love cycles, right guys?
I love global cycles.
I'm
They are
sure
not
everyone
painful.
loves them.
Oh my god.
Oh, you were literally one shot there. That's terrifying. Okay.
Well, we are fine, so
It's fine. It's fine.
that's
make
all
fun.
according to plans.
Yes, of course. We're still well on our way to getting normal cycle here. There is a variation of this called Scream Cycle. Saves some time, but very difficult, very precise.
Saves some
So,
time. It saves like 30 seconds.
It's like 13, I want to say.
Yeah.
Ooh, nice jump. Wait, that was actually clean. If you get jumps around the blocks like that and go a little faster, you'll have Scream Cycle down in no time, though. That's what I'm saying. Because you basically have to do that jump anyway for Scream. But here, we're going to be trying to get onto the left side of this windmill at the end. A little bit of precise inking of jumps here. Ah. You don't got 24 problems like me, you get that no problem.
Yep. I have been practicing this.
Yeah. I used to miss that all the time. We're all good though. That's 24 down. How many power eggs do we got right now? I think you
I
got
don't
enough
know.
for a burst bomb right now.
Yeah.
Boom.
I didn't pay attention to the power X. So I don't know if I get lucky.
That's fair. But yeah, burst bombs are a sub-weapon that blows up on impact with anything. It's really useful for just quickly inking surfaces or getting up walls or whatever, distracting enemies. Really good all-around utility.
We used to unlock this in the old route in World 2. I don't remember the level though. I think it was level...
You would get it before level 6 in the old route, but now you have to basically figure out when's the best time I can get burst bombs in like World 5. What do I not need burst bombs for? And you can do 24 really well with just the splat bomb, so works out very nicely. But yeah, we got through that no problem. And then go to 27. Another Octoling stage. Fun fact about these, usually for the Octostriker and Octoling stages, you'd have to watch the cutscene for it one time, and then for the rest of the worlds, you can skip the cutscene. But we skipped all the rest of the worlds, so we have to watch the cutscenes for them in World 5, which is just a funny little consequence. But still way faster, obviously. It's just weird seeing the World 5 cutscenes.
Those 20 minutes are worth it.
We'll watch the cutscenes.
Yay.
Nice kill there. Got him with the balloon and everything.
Usually I don't get the balloon threat, but it's fine.
Timing. We're doing really solid here. Then we're gonna work our way up the world now to level 25. And level 25 is like the RNG stage of the run now.
I love 25. It's really amazing.
Definitely, we both definitely have not lost runs here or anything, of course. But we've gotta make this jump first. Ooh,
Also,
nice.
first, before going to 25, I unlocked the kettle from level 22. And if
Yeah,
you want
that.
I need to jump to that level after beating 23.
Exactly, because if you wanted to go to it normally, it's off in its own corner, really. So it's easier to just pick it up with bombs, and then you can super jump with the map later. Much easier. But yeah, the RNG we discussed earlier is these flutters. They kind of just go wherever they want, and one of them's gonna have a key that we need for a lockbox at the end of the stage. And it's got a mind of its own. It could be on the left, it could be on the right, or it could be where you want it. But that never happens, so see what happens.
Um,
Wait, that guy's turning. That guy's turning. It's fine.
It's fine.
Oh? Going through the maze. Okay, wait, we're through.
That was really scary. Oh my god.
All of those strays.
Wait,
He's centered!
What the heck?
Rare. Actually rare.
That's amazing.
You have to do all of those jumps around the flutters and then you're rewarded with perfect center RNG. That's classic.
All according to plan, guys. This is nothing for show. All is according to plan.
All according to plan. But yeah, now we're gonna drop down here to level 23. Oh!
We're going to drop down, but not
We're
that
gonna
far.
drop down, but not the 23. 23 on the next one. It's a tricky strat though, because you have to actually activate that ink rail a lot before it visually looks like, because it needs to like fully activate before you can get on it.
RNG can mess that up really badly.
That's all good though. It's like 10 seconds. That's all fine.
That's fine.
23. Now we're just taking out enemies. Gonna be using some Inkzuka specials to ink straight lines, a bunch of sponges in this next part.
We love sponges, right guys? We love SpongeBob.
At least we barely have to deal with burst bomb glitch. Watch, maybe I just manifested a burst bomb glitch now. Like late 23, oh no. I'm SpongeBob. Okay, good movement, chilling, getting through. Burst bombs actually cooperating? Let's go. In their Capsule. Yeah, movement's fine. We're getting there. Oh, good call. That could have been sketchy, yeah. You gotta be careful with that sponge because you can sometimes it visually looks like you can get into something, but you'll actually fall through.
Also, we're going to manipulate these octas to go into that position, to the top left and
It's
the top right.
left and the top. My mind just got blown because I've never seen the manip like that before. You just walked. What? Oh my gosh. Okay.
Yeah, we do the silly walk.
Masterclass. The silly walk. It's a masterclass. That was actually crazy. Now we go to 22. Got a bunch of these switches that we'll use burst bombs for. Okay, corner. Cooperate with us, please. There we go.
Also, we can ink all of these switches with one burst bomb. One burst bomb is all it takes.
Ooh, got that one stuck there. Yeah. Dodging these. If you stand still while you're spinning around there, you can just get shredded by the tentacles. You gotta be careful. It's good though. Burst bomb up. And yeah, we got that Inkzuka like 20 seconds ago, so we can use it right here to take out these enemies faster.
Right meow.
Right meow, I agree. Scary part, the octoballs.
We love octoballs, right guys?
Okay. Got through without an octoball incident, that's a W. That's actually a W. This is Lontrose, the Shiver Arena shrinks every phase of Splatoon 1. No. Not again.
Not again.
Wait. Hold up. Looking at the splits? Wait, it's actually 29 phase.
Yep, it's 29.
It can be done. It can be done. Octavio would have to be good though. Will Octavio cooperate?
If Octavio collaborates and I have no skill issue, that will be fine.
This is a really cool boss fight though. It's also funny that Octavio is now 1/4 of the entire any percent run. I mean, it was a long fight before, but it really shows itself now when it's like 8 minutes almost of a 28, 29-minute run.
That
A little
is
absurd.
wild. I had a question come in from chat, Cloud. It was there anything that you learned about Splatoon that surprised you when you started to learn the speedrun? Like any differences?
Well, World for Skip.
The big
Other
one.
than that, nothing else. Game is cool.
Pretty
Actually,
straightforward. Awesome.
pretty straightforward. Pretty straight.
Game is
straight-
cool. Game is good.
I can talk.
Game is good. Easy.
Yeah.
Game is good. I want to have fun. Easy. That's all. That's the entire explanation. I want to have fun.
Thank
I guess
you.
I guess that makes sense though. If you didn't see World 4 Skip back in 2015, you see it for the first time. Like what?
Oh,
I have like 12. I have like 12 years when it was like 2015 when the game came out.
Yeah. No, that's fair. But yeah, going into Octavia, it's a 5-phase fight. This first one's simple, we're just RFGing the fists. But after that, we have to like do certain setups, to do the right amount of knockback to Octavio in each phase. So you have like normal strats, which is like tapping the first fist and then RFGing the second. You have fist skips where you try to RFG a fist fast enough so it gives you extra knockback. And you can do delay fist as well if you mess that up. You got options, but you got to know what you're doing with each of those options to go fast here. You can't just RFG everything and expect it to work. But yeah, that's our phase one. We gotta do a normal here. Safety armor. Don't be like me and throw too many burst bombs trying to get that armor that a fist hits the ground there. I've done that.
Oh, I seen that.
The incident. Nice fist skip though. Yeah, by RFGing fast enough, Octavio's fist hits the machine before the second fist even comes out. And then when they're
Hello.
split like that, they each do more knockback. Hi, Octavio.
Hi.
Just circling around with the bomb reticle. Nice.
Love to see it.
Very
Hi.
good RFGs though. Just waving.
I'm
We're
flexing this
styling
guy.
guy. Styling right now. This one's tricky with the angle. Ooh, good stuff. No, it's okay. You could just RFG there. Yeah.
Yeah, it's fine, guys.
We're picking up this Inkzuka. We're going to be using the Inkzukas in this fight to take down those subwoofers, the tennis matches basically, from a long range. And they're at a long range in this phase and phase 5. There's 2 Inkzukas, so that's where they got to be used. Hi, how are you?
It's looking a little bit like a dance-off now.
Literally. I mean, what else are you gonna do with that time?
Serious dance-off.
Well, I need to do something about that. So,
Ooh, fast track here.
Let's
By
go.
letting that one fist hit the ground, walk across here, and
Here's
you will
styling.
actually... This is actually styling. The 2-second time save strat. It gives us just enough knockback for the entire phase if we fist skip stuff. Ooh, wait, that one was perfect. That was a beautiful fist skip. The jump there across the invisible platforms. He didn't scare me or anything, trust. Very nice. But yeah, we picked up this Izuka in phase 4, but since Octavio is so close to us, let's just not use it right now. Save it for later. RFGs do the trick just fine. Oh, nice. That's a classic. You get teleported here anyway as you start the best song in the game. Now we're jamming out.
Oh yeah, everyone's like moving and grooving.
Moving and grooving. Perfect fist skips. Your fist skips are so good. Seriously. It's fast. Jamming out, vibing, picking up more armors. More normal fists here.
It's free.
It's free until you accidentally walk off in phase 5.
That's right.
Now, does this save your progress if you happen to fail a phase?
You go back to the start of a phase.
Oh, okay, I gotcha. That's not too bad.
Alright, let's see. What's he got for me? Ooh, right. 1, 2, and 3. Bang. Just gotta do this burst bomb here. Octavio hits the fist, and that's time. Boom.
Wow, GG.
29.56.
Right?
Amazing.
Let's go.
I know y'all were
go.
joking, but like, sub 30, let's go.
It's cool.
Very nice.
Wow, Cloud, that was a very impressive run. I don't know how you made some of those inky jumps. I just like seriously, wow. Do you have any shout outs or comments you'd like to give?
Well, the first thing is I want to shout out Hydrus because I learned some of the strats because he explained me those.
Mm-hmm.
And I learned a ton of strats from Lontra as well, and other runners, as Kraken, Queer. And I don't know, I basically learned this game, like, from watching runs for other runs that are better than me. And that's it. Also, if you want to learn this game, you can go through speedrun.com and find a guide from the old route. And also, we have a guide for the War for early. So if you want to learn, you can use those guides.
Should probably update that at some point. But yeah, and there's also the Discord as well, the Splatoon speedrunning Discord, where you can ask any question that you want about any of the games, any of the categories, and plenty of active runners that are there able to help you out.
Nice. Well, thank you both so much for being here. I will say, if you enjoyed the run, make sure you follow the runner here on Twitch, as well as our commentator, Cloud and Montro. I've linked both of their Twitch channels here in our Twitch chat, so make sure you give them a follow. Before we break, I do want to give a huge shout out to all of our supporters. Your subs, Prime Gaming subs, gift subs, and bits cheered here on the GDQ Twitch channel do help support the Games Done Quick Hotfix with programming, including this Showtime capsule, so please consider subscribing if you do enjoy our daily Hotfix shows. And if you are curious about any of our other Hotfix shows, be sure to check out the stream VODs at youtube.com/GamesDoneQuick. We will be right back with Tearaway Unfolded. Thank you both again so much for being here, and we will see you all again very soon.
Well, thanks for having us.
All right, everybody, welcome back to the Games Done Quick Hotfix. I'm your host, Smooth Operative, and you are watching Time Capsule. We are on a 2015 games kick tonight, and we are all set up for the next run. So please welcome Lonely Roast for Tearaway Unfolded.
Thank you. Yeah. So this is Tearaway Unfolded. I'm running with Grados is my commentator here. He's been helping out with some runs lately. And yeah, so this is a new game plus run. We start the game at the very first chapter, and we have a lot of abilities that'll let us get through the first few levels a lot faster. And if you're ready, we can get started, and I can call time. It's when I first get control of the character here.
Absolutely, yeah. Whenever you're ready.
All right. So as soon as it finishes loading, we can get going when I get control. So right now.
Good luck.
Thank you. So yeah, this is the first level. There's a lot of skips that happen because we have the ability to jump. Tearaway is an interesting game. It's from the developers of Little Big Planet, Media Molecule. And it's kind of their black sheep game, I feel like. But yeah, you get the ability to jump in at the end of the second level. And so the first level has a bunch of skips that we can, skip dialogue. We can skip a bunch of combat scenes. There's a lot. This game, I feel like, has a lot of skips that come at you quickly. So hopefully Grados, if he sees a skip that I do without mentioning it, he can hop in. But yeah, there's just a lot of you're running through pretty quickly in the first level. It's like a solid 5-minute difference between the New Game Plus and the any percent run because you can jump out of bounds. So we're gonna go outside here, climb along the edge of the environment here, and that skips a whole tutorial on how to use one of our early mechanics, the ability to use the light. I'll let Grados, if he wants to explain how I use that throughout the run a bit.
Yeah, as Lily Rose mentioned, the early part of this run is really, really fun. It's mostly different from the any percent run, as he mentioned, by the early advent of abilities. Usually we wouldn't even be able to jump right now. The only ability we'd have is that flashlight that you can see him. It's how you interact with a lot of the menus. The game kind of is a tech demo for the DualShock 4. You can see the flashlight kind of looks like the thing on the front. Here it's demonstrating that we can clear these newspaper bits and interact with the environment. We can also do some other fun things with the touchpad and the motion controls on the controller later. A really important bit right now is we're getting the camera. The game's got a photo mode. You can run around and take pictures, but what's really fun is that this camera, it's kind of unique to this game, will actually help us in a couple skips later on. We'll call those out when we see them. But it's a pretty interesting quirk to the game.
Yeah, so the game, it just showed that we can use the camera to take selfies, and we can actually put the camera down like on a virtual tripod, essentially, and then the camera has its own collision, so we're going to use the camera to get out of bounds a couple times to jump over obstacles. It's a fun little thing that I feel like a lot of people are going to be finding pretty good skips for later down the line. So this is a really small community. The Discord for this game is only about 16 people right now. There's only for, the Unfolded run only has about 3 runners. So I'm hyper confident if anyone enjoys the run and wants to give it a try that you can get some good times going. There's a lot of skips that are new that have been found in the last year or so. There's a couple of people that have just hopped into the community and be like, hey, I found this skip, and then not done any runs. So it's a good time. I think a lot of people should check this game out. I think it's a very underrated game for its pedigree in a way. It's a 3D platformer where everything is made of paper, and it's by, the people who made Little Big Planet, and people love Little Big Planet, but it just never got the light of day. It kind of started... go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say Roast is being a little modest in that he started running this sometime a year ago?
About a year ago, yeah.
And has just decided to pick it up and run, and has since shaved off, 30 minutes off of the run?
So for the New Game Plus, it's about 30 minutes from the world record. And then, to be completely honest, I'm sure this is a point of conversation, but picked up this game purely because I was looking for I've never speedrun a game before in my life, and I picked up this game because I thought it would be a fun speedrun, and I was like, hey, not many people have run it, and the video looks fun. So I actually have never completed just a casual run of the game. I got like halfway through and then started looking up speedrun strats and stuff. So I don't even really know the full story of the game, to be completely honest.
Maybe a casual playthrough is in your future soon.
Yeah, that would be fun. That'll be an after run incentive here. We'll play a casual run through afterwards.
Yeah, Roast, while we were prepping for this run, kept being like, oh, you gotta play a full run. And I was like, well, you haven't either, so...
It's true. Like, no, you go clean your room.
Yeah, exactly. Hot calling the kettle black on this one. So this skip right here is just one that I've always enjoyed. It's one that when I watched the videos, it made me think that I wanted to run the game, because you skip basically half the level by jumping on the wall, and there's kind of weird collision, and I just saw that and I was like, oh man, this game might actually be really fun to run. And so yeah, I would encourage anybody who's interested in speedrunning 3D platforms to give it a try, because it's a pretty fun run. It has a lot of fun tech that is kind of creative. There's a lot of, going out of bounds for weird reasons to skip cutscenes or skip a long combat section with waves and waves of enemies.
It's worth
Would
noting.
you say? Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say it's worth noting real quick that the run is extremely mechanical, I guess is what I would say. Like there's a lot of you're using the abilities to the max, and you're actually doing a lot instead of just your typical controller nonsense. I just wanted to call out real quick that you can see these polka dot things on the ground. Those aren't just there for decoration. Those are kind of drum pads. Like I said, it's a kind of a showcase for the DualShock, and so he's pressing down on the touchpad to set, like, to push down on the drums.
I would say
to depress the thank you. To depress the drums there, and then when he lets go, it pops him, the player character, and other objects in the environment, throws them up. There's some other crazy things. You're going to be swinging the controller around, like I said, with the light, and there's some other fun motion controls in here that really does make the run very tactile.
Yeah, there's a few finger gymnastics that you have to do. A couple levels will make you hold more buttons than you'd really like for a lot of it, and oh, she didn't want to jump off there. You'll have to, so when I'm using this flashlight that will pop up here, that's me holding one of the triggers, and then I control it using the motion controls on the controller. And so there'll be times when you're holding R2 circle, moving the motion controls around, and swiping on the touchpad at the same time. So it's like you kind of have to do a finger twister for this game, but it's really fun. I like it a lot.
Your hands probably start looking like crab claws.
Oh yeah, I've never been a claw grip person. I've always been like, how can people play like that? And then I started playing this game, and now I get it.
And now here we are.
It's this and Elden Ring were the two games that I was like, okay, now I understand claw grip.
Do you speedrun Elden Ring as
no,
well?
No, I have never the only other games I've speedrun. So this game started as a PS Vita game. Tearaway, the original, was on the PlayStation Vita, and it was definitely a tech demo for the Vita. And we all know how the Vita did, and so they re-released the game on the PlayStation 4 with a few extra levels, a few extra puzzles. Yes, it reminds me a lot of Astro's Playroom. It's very similar in that it utilizes all of the controller's features and stuff. And so
I see.
It came out in the Vita, didn't do too hot. I played this one, and then I met a couple people in the community, Sly, Sock, a few runners that played the Vita game, and they encouraged me to go out, and I found a Vita, and I've only run this Tearaway Unfolded and Tearaway on the Vita, and one single level. Oh, there I go. One single level on the Little Big Planet PS Vita game, and that's my entire speedrunning career. So
nice.
I'm definitely looking for more games to run. I am interested in Super Mario 64, but that's one of the the big ones.
It's a difficult game to approach for sure.
Absolutely.
And I'm sure this game is difficult as well, but I was curious, Lonely, do you think your interest in Little Big Planet is kind of what got you interested in this in the first place?
Yeah, I mean, I loved Little Big Planet with the platforming. I feel like they nailed, I loved the feeling of the game, and I grew up, Super Mario 64 is like one of my all-time favorites. Like, I'm a big platformer person, and so I saw Little Big Planet. I saw a 3D platformer by the people that made Little Big Planet, and I was like, I'm gonna play that.
Sign me up.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And it's just a fun game. Everything in the world is made of paper. At the end of the run, we can look that they actually make, in the pause menu, you can scroll through as you play through the game. It'll give you the physical blueprints to make the actual characters out of paper in real life. And you can like print them out and fold along the dotted line and make, this pig that I'm riding on. You can make this pig and fold it up in real life, and everything in the game is like that. So it's so creative. The people at Media Molecule are just amazingly creative.
I genuinely want to make one of these paper models now.
Yeah, I've told myself that if I ever go to actual, a GDQ, that I'll make the main character, because I'm not very good at these kind of dexterous, tactile things. And so that's going to be my, if I ever make it there, I'm going to make the character and bring it with me.
He says as he's quite literally contorting his hands to do this run.
Yeah. But yeah, so this is the third level. It's kind of the closest this game has to an auto scroller. There's not really much that I feel like you can do to speed this section up, other than like have the best Formula One racing lines. Just kind of line up the corners the best you can, but it's not really going to do that much.
For sure. Well, if we have a little bit of downtime, I do want to mention that Games Done Quick is hiring. So if you are watching and you are a business developer or have experience recruiting sponsorships and would like to work for GDQ, you can apply at gamesdonequick.com/jobs.
I believe Grados has been pressuring his roommate to apply every time GDQ has openings.
Yeah, we do have openings from time to time, and sometimes show spots available. So it's good to just keep your eye out on the jobs page for sure.
So yeah, this is an odd. There's a few quirks in this game. So like right here, I wiggle the camera around as I'm rolling, because if you let the game control the camera automatically, it'll start like diving under the ground, since you're not supposed to be able to roll at this point. And it gets kind of weird. There's a few skips that will require me to kind of wiggle the camera just to make sure the camera doesn't like do its own thing. So here, we're going to skip a good amount of the beginning. So we're going to a level called St. Swithin's Moor. I don't know if that's the way to pronounce it, but that's how I pronounce it. And there's a few cutscenes that get us over here. But if we go over to the left and jump out of bounds... or we mess up the first time, but the second time, if we jump out of bounds, then we will, actually, I'm going to restart checkpoint, because it'll play those cutscenes again. So we'll go out of bounds, hopefully, and then we will we'll stay along the wall, and that'll skip like 3 or 4 cutscenes that introduce new mechanics in the game and all this, but obviously we don't want those.
Yeah, we've glossed over some of the abilities so far. I believe in the game you get 6, 7.5
if you count.
abilities.
There's one ability that's only for one level.
But a lot of this, as we mentioned before, isn't possible to do in the any % run when you start from a brand new account or start from a brand new save. One of them being that paper airplane that you saw Roast glide on. Those are, it's kind of unclear when they get populated, but because we're kind of in a hub area right now, when you finish a level, those paper airplanes will show up. So you can kind of fly around and replay bits if you want to. And he's using that in combination with another ability that canonically we're about to get. We already have because of New Game Plus. The wind that lets him swipe on the touchpad to then interact with things in the environment by blowing them around. and also fly the paper airplane wherever you want, give you more speed. And use that in a couple of different creative ways, or we use that in a couple of different creative ways during the runs to, get out of bounds and try and get to areas a little bit quicker.
Yeah. And then this game, one of the more fun things about this game is since everything's made of paper, you get the chance to make whatever you want. And so these clouds, we preemptively made the graphic for GDQ so that anytime there's clouds in the games, we can see GDQ spammed all over the screen.
That's fantastic. Oh my gosh.
They do have I think the PlayStation app back in the day let you get real detailed with it. And so it's a shame. I don't think you can do it anymore, but this game has plenty of customization that you can, spam your logo all over the character's face. I always enjoy everyone's
really
custom
cool.
characters.
This bit that Roast just did, you saw him get on that paper airplane again. It's a really funny skip, to me at least, being a new approach to this game, or a new cover to this game. Back when Roast was originally running and I was watching him play, usually we used to go through the entire level, and there was some pretty hard tricks about getting onto blades of grass and blowing the wind so it would launch you just a couple pixels higher so you could make a jump. And then as we were practicing for this, I found out that whole section got entirely skipped just because no one thought to, hey, maybe we could just fly this paper airplane backwards to the very end of the level.
So this is essentially the final boss of this level, is this little section teaching you how to use this mechanic. And so nobody really thought to just kind of fly the paper airplane to the end of the level and just skip the entire level. And so this was this is one of the longest levels in the run up until fairly recently. And now we just skip the entire thing because we found out, hey, if you fly the paper airplane here, you can it's one of those weird things where the game checks what I would call, I guess, flags, where it's just like, hey, have you done this? Have you done this before they let you into another level? And all you need from this level is to throw the squirrels into the tree, and then you can move on to the rest of the game.
And speaking of that, throwing the squirrels into the tree, that is where this level would have introduced us to the wind and then to that throw ability. It's really fun. It's kind of like a meta ability. Essentially, the character Atois is throwing the objects into the game, out of the screen, and into your controller. And then you can see that reticle, sparkly circle-looking thing. That's Roast aiming with the motion controls of the game, and then can throw things back into the game to hit enemies, like we saw, hitting those targets and interacting with the world. It comes in handy in a couple different interesting spots later on. The game is very momentum based, and we can use that to either halt or speed up momentum in a couple places, just to shave off half a second there, a couple seconds here.
Yeah, and so you throw things back into the world by swiping up on the touchpad. So it's one of those things that sometimes you're rolling and then swiping up and aiming with the controller at the same time. And the entire next level is basically, it's like Zelda, where you get a new ability and now it's time to use that ability for a few minutes. And that will be what we're doing in the next level, called Grocer's Barn. But yeah, so that is the end of St. Swithin's Moor. We're back in the kind of hub area. And then we will start Grocer's Barn, which to me is one of the most fun levels. It just has a lot of, if you can hit the cycles just right, or you can, it feels great when you're doing it quickly. It's just one of those levels.
Yeah, one of those. I get what you mean.
I think that's definitely one of the draws to running this game is, we mentioned how tactile it is earlier. It really runs the gambit of 3D platformers. You've got interesting abilities, you've got just fun mechanical levels, you've got a story. I wasn't quite sure what exactly happens.
We do know that it gets pretty crazy meta. I know the ending, not to spoil it, you guys can find out, but it gets pretty meta at the end. But yeah, continue.
On that, there's a throwing bit later in the game, about, halfway through the game, the end of Act 2-ish, that we'll call it out when we see it, is probably my favorite part of the game. Is extremely meta. I don't know. It's got a lot of that like media molecule humor. Like, oh, we're recognizing that this is a very strange world, and we're gonna play around with those ideas.
So coming up after this little bridge, and then we'll do another flip platform, is one of my favorite skips in the game because we're gonna get introduced to a combat section, and we're just gonna say, I don't want to do that combat, and jump out of it. And when we do, the lights will, like when the combat starts, all the lights will turn off and some music will play. And when we get out of it, the lights will never turn back on for basically the rest of the level because it just thinks that we're still in that combat indefinitely. So right here, the lights are going to turn off. This is teaching us that we can control the enemies with our spotlight ability. But if we use the jump pad, we can just jump out of it and skip all of that. And now the music and the lights will turn off for a while. I just think that's a fun little skip that there's just one of those odd things. You're like, why is the music not linked to this section anymore, or the lights? There's a few things. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, upcoming here is one of those sections that I mentioned where Roast is going to be using a lot of the throw ability. A toit is that little paper ball there rolling around. And it's like kind of an auto scroller, but we can do some fun things here to make sure that they get to where they're going, as well as like speed up. I believe at the end of this one, correct me if I'm wrong, Roast, is where we can stop their momentum and get like half a second back from the rolling ability, just so they roll in the other direction a little bit quicker.
So yeah, throughout this little section, you're going down a funnel, and since it's all physics-based, the way that they let Atois, the main character, the way that they empty her out into the funnel, she'll kind of circle the drain for a while. And so my kind of method is that I just throw the acorns that I have at the funnel to kind of stop her momentum so that she falls into the middle of the funnel faster. And it's just one of those things that makes me feel like I'm going faster, even if it's only like a quarter of a second. But, you know, it's always fun to feel like I'm optimizing where I can.
It's an emotional victory.
Hey,
yeah, there we go.
Yeah, those things add up, too.
So here's another combat section. We would fight like 3 waves of enemies, but we just use the little fold of paper to jump out and move on. Most of this game is just trying to skip combat. There's a lot of combat in this game. It's not the fastest thing in the world, and so we're mostly just trying to skip combat or make it as quick as possible. And so here's the first actual combat that we're gonna have. You can use your light to guide the enemies that are on foot. And so these ones I'm just gonna throw off the ledge. And then the ones that are on legs, they shoot little pellets at you. And you can use your light to kind of make them target things. But it's mostly useful to knock the enemies off the ledge and roll into them as much as possible. And then you can pick up enemies and throw them into each other, which to me is the fastest way to get through it, because then you can throw, get 2 enemies with 1 stone, theoretically.
Yeah, the combat in this game, there's a bunch of different ways, as games are wont to be, to finish individual sections. Priority number 1, try and skip the combat in any way we can. Priority number 2, if we can't, or if there's some kind of trigger associated with the combat, making sure that we're being as efficient as possible. You'll see Roast round up as many enemies as he can, and either throw them off the edge, or earlier in the game you might have seen him throwing them under environmental set pieces and things. A lot of times he'll opt to do that over throwing them off the edge if there's collision or some kind of set decoration there. The enemies are not the smartest thing, and frequently like to just hang out and get stuck kind of halfway on, halfway off, and that can be a pretty brutal if you're making a good pace. And then an enemy just decides not to cooperate.
Yeah, there are some times where you'll guide an enemy off a ledge. There are a couple ledges that are kind of hot spots that I avoid, that if you throw an enemy off, they might just land off screen and be hanging on some part of the environment that you can't find, and then the combat will never end, and so you just have to kind of run around and beg for the person to show up somewhere. So this
Are there a lot of reset points like that?
There are a few. So, chapter 2, there are 3 main acts, I feel like, in this game. And chapter 2 kind of has a few moments where if you're, say, there'll be a level crash site where I have to carry a rock for a few sections. And if I lose that rock, it's like a 5-minute loss. And so there's a few, if you're going for a world record and going for like PBs, then there's a few run killers. But for marathon specific, I don't think there's a single level in the run that lasts over 10 minutes. And every level has a reset point that you can just, go to the last checkpoint and to the beginning of the level. So worst come to worst, you're never losing more than, 7 or 8 minutes, which can be pretty rough. Especially if you're, 40 minutes into a PB run and then you drop that rock off a ledge somehow and then, oh, there goes my entire run.
Oh, yeah.
There has been since we've been practicing a little bit for this run, we've found one of my least favorite levels there's a level that's one of my least favorite because you have to carry a rock through, I would say, half the level, and dropping it at any point is like a solid 5 to 7 minute loss because it's using that rock will skip half the level essentially. And so we've recently found out that we can just use the camera and not use the rock at all. And so it's a much safer, much more fun strat.
Very nice.
Yeah, so rocks in this game are really important. There's like 3 skips that use them. They're just little abilities or little items that you can carry, and there's a few items that you can carry, but rocks give you the most height. And so we might use those rocks to get out of bounds or to, as we have in the past, just skip an combat section entirely. So rocks are very important, and they are also when you have to just fight, as we're gonna go over. This is Gibbet Hill, and as we get further in this level, we're gonna have a few combat sections, and we're gonna very much rely on rocks for combat. To me, that's the fastest method of combat, is just spam throwing rocks at people.
Now, do we have a new friend here, pumpkin friend?
We do. So this pumpkin, there are crows in the game that are gonna get in our way and block us and cause problems, and the best way to scare crows is to get a scarecrow. And so we have a new pumpkin jack-o'-lantern friend that's gonna be our scarecrow and scare these crows away. So here we're gonna use rocks and just kind of rapid fire, try and get these enemies. Yeah, combat could go pretty poorly sometimes. It's pretty, I feel like it's morale based. You're doing well, and then you mess up, and then it's just all over from there.
Gotta keep up the morale.
Yeah, exactly.
You got this.
Fortunately, as we just saw, the checkpoints are fairly gratuitous, or save points, I guess, are fairly gratuitous and don't put you too far back. So even if you do fail some combat or make a mistake somewhere in there, you're not losing a crazy amount of time.
Right.
Here, we're having some fun platforming moments. We talked about the wind earlier. Roast is swiping on his controller there. They really like to lean on the paper mache aesthetic. It's really, really fun. And so, like a storybook, he was blowing these pages different ways to let him navigate the environment in different areas, or different ways.
Yeah, and I will say, I'm gonna start this beef live. Yoshi's Crafted World, who came out way after this game and was all about crafts and the music on kazoo and everything, they didn't do it as good as Tearaway did. I'm starting that war right here.
Yoshi's Woolly World or something it was called? Okay, yeah.
There's Kirby Crafted World, I think, and then Yoshi's Woolly World. Something like that. Or there's Kirby Yarn World, I think. Something like that.
Arts and crafts.
Yeah, that aesthetic. It started here. It started in 2015 in this time capsule.
Put some respect on its name.
Absolutely.
Yeah, here's another section. Those crows are just being mean. They've got beef with our main character for some reason.
I'm sure
and
the story explains it somewhere, but here we are.
Yeah. See, but that's the fun thing, is that we know that the squirrels are on our side, but the birds are not. Who knows? But that's, another scenario where we get our little pumpkin friend. We have to bring his head back to him to make sure that the crows stay out of our way.
And so here's the little quick section that it's just one of those things that the game doesn't expect you to just keep running to the left, and so you can just kidding, you can't get through these rocks apparently because I'm too slow. But normally you can just roll past those rocks before they put them down.
Believe that means that we have to do this combat?
No, we can keep skipping it. Yeah. There's a few combat sections where the game actually lets you go if you just know where to go. Like if it'll have enemies and it expects you to fight them, but the way out is still open, so you can just run out, which is very considerate. So here is the first big kind of combat section that we're going to be fighting. I think that here's 4 waves on this section, and then the next screen will have a few extra waves. But the next section, we have at least we have the privilege of using rocks. This first section is all just using the enemies that come by.
At this point in the run, it's kind of worth noting that it doesn't differ much from the any % run. At this point, we've collected, I believe, all of the abilities. And so now,
I'm trying to think.
Other than I believe the last one is the squeeze box, which we'll get to. Is that half of ability we mentioned earlier?
Yeah, so after about this section, I would say the runs are basically the same. There's a couple small differences. One of the main ones is that the game will ask you to make things the way that we made the GDQ cloud earlier in the game. And so we skipped those sections in the New Game Plus because the game knows we've already made them. But for the most part, the way we're playing is going to be identical starting here. And so if that gives any context for how much the beginning of the game is saved with New Game Plus, the differences in runs are about 30 minutes. And so we've saved about 30 minutes in the first half of in the first section of this game here.
Nice.
Now I'm going to shake my controller because the game wants me to grab a bell and shake it.
You! Out there! Catch! Make
Another one of those scenarios of playing around with the different features of the DualShock, really getting their money's worth. Rose and I have talked at length about the differences between this run and the Vita one, and how there's some slight differences between the abilities as well. The Vita had that touchpad on the back, which, I don't know, Roast, if you want to explain the discomfort of the ability.
It makes me a little uncomfortable. So in the Vita version of the game, the drum pads that you've seen in a few sections here, it looks very similar, but the game wants you. Most of the combat in the Vita version of the game is done by touching the touchpad on the back of the Vita, and it'll make fake paper fingers come out of the ground, and it just, I don't know, it gives me this weird uncanny valley feeling that I'm watching my fingers in the game, there's fake fingernails and everything. It's just kind of gross. I don't know what it is. It just makes me a little uncomfy. At least the game was ready. I think it came out, the Vita game, I think came out in 2012 or 2013. And you can choose the skin tone of the fingers that pop through the game, which I thought was very nice. But yeah, still, just any fake fingers that are supposed to be my fingers popping through the game, it's an uncomfy feeling. So yeah, this is Crash Site. This is probably the most high stakes level of the run. This is now, especially after we found out we don't need the rock in a future level. This is one of those levels that if you make a big mistake, you have to start the whole level over again. But we're professionals here, so we're not going to make those mistakes.
Yeah, we just got introduced to a new character, the Wendigo. There'll be a friend of ours here in a bit. In the traditional playthrough of this level, used the Wendigo a lot for to take care of things in the environment. It's almost a new ability, and we'll be using that little guy in traditional spots during the level, and also as Rose talked about earlier. There was some pretty rough navigation between throwing the Wendigo into your controller and then being able to carry the rock and kind of juggling the two. I guess quite literally juggling the two, the character and the rock that we needed for skips later on. And so it became pretty. I don't know. It just mechanically rough is how I would describe it.
Yeah, and so the Wendigo is used to unlock a lot of the doors in this level, essentially. And right now, what I'm trying to do is jump past this door, and it kind of skips a spawn point for the Wendigo. And so from this point on, other than in combat, if the Wendigo dies, I need to start the level over because the Wendigo just doesn't have a spawn point. And the Wendigo is also our key for the rest of the level. And so I need to keep him safe. Like, in combat, he's allowed to die because he'll just respawn, like, within a second. But if I were to throw him off a ledge or something on accident, then he just will disappear for the rest of the level. And so it gets pretty high stakes. And so here is one of the more fun ones. We can see, I call these little fruits that I'm carrying, I call them plums. I don't know what they're supposed to be, but we're going to use this one to set up a jump. We're going to grab this rock down here because we're going to need this rock later. And so we're skipping a very large combat section here by going around, bringing this rock with us. We have to have it in our hands because if it's in our controller right here as we cross this bridge, it would make us throw it, and throwing it when the game just forces you to means it falls off the ledge and we can't use it for the next jump. And so we're going to go up this tape here, this glue paper, and carry the rock with us. And this rock is going to get us out of bounds and let us skip a combat section and a few little like puzzles, a few cutscenes, all from using this rock. And it needs to be the rock because of what I said earlier about how the rock lets you jump a little higher than any other item in the game. And so we're going to just barely get up here. We're going to use the light to make sure these guys don't bother me. And then use this to skip all of that section you see down there. All of those puzzles, all of the little do's and don'ts down there. The camera gets a little wonky. There's a few times where the camera's just going to swing around like this when we're out of bounds. I'm saying out of bounds. I don't know the actual technical definition of out of bounds. But hey, I'm outside of where the game thinks I'm supposed to be, so I'm calling that out of bounds. So yeah, we'll continue on, and then we're still being extra careful. At this point, if the Wendigo falls, we still lose him for the rest of the level, and we need him for a solid few more minutes. And so, he can die to enemies, but he cannot fall off the ledge. And so there's actually a part that he dies very frequently in this next room. And so the safer route is actually for us to use what I call a roll jump. It's basically a crouch jump in any Source engine game and stuff like that, that we're gonna jump and roll out of roll in the middle of our jump, and that's gonna give us a little tiny bit extra height, and that's just enough to make a few jumps in this game, including this one right here. And so now, instead of trusting the Wendigo that usually dies in this section, it's just a weird section that he falls off a lot, we're going to do it for him.
Yeah, we're just going to carry him all the way to the finish line, say, hey, you can hang out, take a rest in our controller. We'll let you know when we need you. Sorry, go ahead.
That's friendship.
Yeah, exactly. And so it is a bit of a shame. The combat section that we skipped earlier, by using that rock, it does end with a cutscene that we take a picture holding the Wendigo, and he becomes our new friend, and we name him and everything. and we don't get to make friends on this run. So it's a bit of a shame, but it's all right. The Wendigo is what he is. He can be a little frustrating sometimes. There's some of these like yarn balls, I call them. I don't know what else I would call them. These doors that this one in particular, he sometimes really struggles to want to eat, like right now.
He can be quite temperamental, but we let it happen because he's, in my opinion, the cutest character in this game.
Yeah, sometimes he just...
For being a little tiny scrap of paper, what are we doing?
Come on, buddy. There we go.
Oh, that was bad.
Yeah,
that was...
he can get caught up there sometimes. I don't know, it's that last one. That last ball just he gets confused. So now we're about to witness the squirrels go to war against the enemies, the scraps in this game. The squirrels are our friends, they're the good guys. The crows are the bad guys, I think. And then the scraps are actually genuinely the bad guys. And so we are joining the war against the scraps right now.
I think the scraps are just terribly misunderstood.
It's true, they are. They just want a friend, they just want to be included. And so this is one of those combat sections. Actually, squirrels they're technically our friends, canonically, but they're real annoying sometimes because if you ever are rolling when you're next to them, they'll pick you up and throw you in a random direction. And so in these sections, you cannot press the circle button in any way because as soon as you do, a squirrel will pick you up and throw you off a ledge or something. They're like dogs. They just can't help themselves. They see a ball and they gotta grab it.
Here's another one of those fun sections where technically you're supposed to design something and, give this squirrel a badge of honor. It's faster for us to just use whatever design was there from the get-go.
Whoa. There's our GDQ. That's never happened before. I've never fallen down and died in that little bridge before.
Hey, first time for everything.
There's gotta be one.
What's really fun about those sections where they have you make the badge and give it to the squirrel and then give it to yourself is that if you look closely, you can see all of the badges that Roast has given himself in the previous runs.
Yeah.
Just plastered all over the character's face.
Every now and then I'll go clean them up, but yeah, if I'm practicing or if I'm just doing run after run, there'll be like 17 layers of the same sticker just like sticking out of your character's face.
That's really good.
The game also has a weird, with the camera, there's a couple times where you have to take pictures for the story to move on. And if I were to take a picture right now, the game would say, hey, you have too many pictures. You need to delete some. But it'll actually save them if it's a story-related picture. And so there's a part of me that's been anxious that I'm like, okay, this run on GDQ is going to be the one where like the game crashes because I have way too many pictures saved or something.
Oh my gosh, we'll find out.
So yeah, this is us running from the scraps. We're fleeing to Sogport, which is a island where one of the narrators has been waiting for us. I don't really know the full story of the game, so forgive me. But the narrator wants to meet us at Sogport. That's what I know.
Here is your ticket to Sogport.
And so right here is when the game is actually introducing the paper airplanes that I used earlier in the game, because it's a New Game Plus run.
This is a pretty fun, I guess, quirk of the game. As you can see, we're wind's blowing, we got the paper airplanes, we're trying to fly away and escape. And these pirate scrap ships start showing up. Something about the way that you move the camera, technically 2 of them were supposed to spawn there, one on either side of this little island that we're on. And Roast is just making sure I'm just holding the camera in a certain way, and if we just do that, one of the ships just doesn't ever make it ashore.
Yeah. There's a few times where it might not be, it's not clear because you can't notice the lack of something happening, but it's like, oh yeah, enemies don't spawn there just because you walk a little further to the right than the game expects it, and so it doesn't spawn the enemies that are supposed to be on the left. There's a lot of just like quirks in the game that you learn just the route to roll or to run because you're like, oh, well, if I go here, then this won't load as quickly or something. I don't know. But yeah, it's some fun stuff with just figuring out where to put your character, where to put the camera. But yeah, if there are any questions, this is the one unskippable long cutscene in the game. This is our big everyone run to the bathroom.
Yeah, everyone go fill up your water bottles. Everyone go do what you need to do. We'll be back with you in a little bit.
Okay. Do you actually like have time to get up and stretch and stuff? And do you during normal runs?
Yeah. So there's probably this cutscene I think is like a minute and a half, and there's no skipping it. So I generally do run to the bathroom or run and grab a drink or do a stretch. It's just a good little break that the game gives us. It's pretty much in the middle of the run, or it's pretty close to the middle, so you get a intermission.
Oh, well, yeah, and it is a long run as well, so that is nice to have in there.
Right. I never thought that I would be, when I was looking for games to run before I found this, I was just like, yeah, I would want it to be like less than an hour probably, and here I am playing a 2-hour game, but I just...
Sometimes it's just like
yeah, it's the way it goes sometimes.
Now, do you think you'll be running any other categories in Tearaway Unfolded specifically, or you kind of stick to NG+?
So, I mean, technically, I hate to say it like this, but technically I do have the record in every category at this point because I finished the New Game Plus and I was like, that was really fun. Let's try this run. Let's try this one. So I actually learned the run by playing individual levels at a time and just playing, the first level over and over. And then I beat the times on that one. So then I played the second level over and over. And so I do feel like I have this game pretty known front to back. But I'm very hopeful that if people find out about this game and start running it, that we'll get some competition going, because my record has sat for about a year, and it's not... nobody has even attempted at it yet. So that's what I would love to see. And then I would love to keep, watching those times go down and down. And then that gives me incentive to try and find more skips. I will say, I doubt they're around, but huge shout out to someone called New Birdman, who about 12 years ago posted just a series of YouTube videos just like, hey, here's a skip I found, here's a skip I found. They never ran the game ever. They just posted maybe 20 skips on YouTube and then faded into the night. And so I have, That's my white whale. I've reached out, I've commented, been like, hey, just want you to know that like your skips have encouraged me to play this game and all of that. And they're out there somewhere. So New Birdman, if you're out there, hit me up.
We're thinking about
Yeah, you're in our hearts. So yeah, this is when to go fissure. Oh, go ahead, sorry.
Oh, I was saying, hopefully anyone seeing this run right now, someone might get inspired to follow you up.
I hope so.
We've gone back and forth quite a bit in prep for today, and just as Gross has been streaming and running this game, about just how much time is probably left in this game to find. Like we said before, it's about a 2-hour run. World record's, what, an hour and 45 or something?
Hour 44, 30 something.
Oh, my bad. I'm thoroughly convinced that this run could probably go, easily sub 130. Probably, I don't know. This is where we go back and forth. Maybe sub 1 hour. We'll see.
There's definitely some big skips to be found. I mean, I have never speedrun any other game ever, and so I have no experience with this other than this game, and I cut it down 30 minutes. So like somebody who knows what to look for would absolutely be able to just tear this apart. So here, really quick, is where we used to use the rock. Oh. And now we found out if we drop the camera on this ledge, we can jump on the camera and use that to skip. Jump on the camera and use this. This skips a solid 9 minutes, I think. There's a whole underground second half to the level, and the entrance of it is right at that ledge, and by jumping over it, we skip an entire second half of the level.
Say no thank you.
And if you fall, it's real obnoxious on this section. And I fall a lot on this section. But yeah, there's a lot of time to be made. If anyone that has the speedrunner eye, if they're watching and they're like, oh, what if you do this? I'm sure it'll actually work. There's a bunch of just like, wait, what if I do this? And then it works, and you're like, oh man, I found a skip in this game. Oh, I turned too early. Here's what Grados calls a flex skip because it saves maybe 2 seconds, and it's very dangerous, but it looks cool. Oh, there it goes.
We're supposed to be able to jump off that ledge and then get ourselves glued to the wall there. Saves virtually no time, as Rose said, but yeah, it's kind of one of those fun, like, yeah, swag skip. We'll just jump over here to stun on people.
So yeah, that is the end of Wendigo Fissure. Wendigo Fissure, especially when the rock was needed to skip a lot of that, I considered that one of the big physical, like, finger gymnastics levels because you have to roll and blow wind and all this stuff at the same time. And then now we're going into what's called the lab, and this is definitely the cerebral level of this game where there's a lot of sequencing that you have to like press this button to do this, and it's kind of the mental level of this game. And so things won't look as flashy for sure, but still a very fun level.
Also, as soon as we start getting pretty meta into the game, the scraps here have recognized that the player, us, are manipulating and controlling the world with their controller and PlayStation 4, and are starting to try and build their own, which gets really fun. This is also the introduction of that Haffa ability that we talked about earlier, the squeeze box. You get like a little accordion-looking thing. It's a really, really powerful ability. It's really fun. But we only get it for about this level and like a little bit of the next one until a cutscene. And so it's one of those things where we try and use it as much as possible here, and then we lose it.
Right. And so, yeah, overall, I do know some of the story of the game, and throughout the game, the narrators will refer to somebody called the You. And the you is you as in the player. And so everyone in the game recognizes that, like, Atois, the character I'm playing as, is their own person, and I'm controlling them with something. They recognize that that's, going on. And so the enemies also recognize that that's happening. And so, like, as we said, sometimes when we throw things back and forth between the character and the controller, the character recognizes that I'm here, and they will refer to me as the you. And so that's just something worth noting for this and the next level, as we'll explain when they start getting more meta with it.
It always makes me think that in an alternate universe, there was because they're, demoing all these controller features in which you had to, like, a Mario Party blow into your controller to get the wind to work or something, which would have made this run even more ridiculous, if you ask me.
To be holding the controller up to my face and blowing at it and stuff.
Yeah.
And so it is worth noting I am playing on a PS5. There is no time difference as far as we've measured, and we haven't gotten any officials in on it. It's our small community, but our small community has timed things, and there's no loading difference, so it doesn't really make any difference. But to me, the game it feels easier to play with a DualSense controller, a PS5, rather than the DualShock. It's just a little smaller. But there is a lot that will start being, like, explicitly in the game referencing the DualShock.
Already, we've got, the flashlight, which is technically like that spotlight glowy thing on the back of the DualShock that changes colors. Some other... We've seen a couple, like, X and triangle and square buttons show up around the game so far, and it starts to lean heavier into those, I don't know, motifs, whatever you want to call them.
It gets a little more and more ridiculous as the game goes, let's say. Like, even though we don't fully know the full story, we do recognize, and I hope you all will recognize, the game gets pretty wild towards the end. It starts really shattering that fourth wall.
Here, we're in the lab. Like I said earlier, we're getting this squeeze box. Roast is holding L1 to like pull things in towards him, or pressing L1 to pull things in towards him, and pressing R1 to blow them away. This lets him, throw stuff like we're seeing right now, cause wind and maneuver things around the environment. It makes combat, almost trivializes it to a degree.
Yeah. You can
later
just
on in the
grab
level,
enemies
really
and throw them at each other, so you just kind of jump around and spam L1, R1 back and forth. So yeah, I realize I haven't really talked about, there are really 3 main methods of movement in this game. There's walking, there's rolling, and then there's an in-between. So like when you're running, if you press circle, the character will jump into a roll. And that jump, I believe, it's a personal preference. I don't know any statistics on it, but I'm going by feels that when you're rolling or when you're going uphill, it's better to like spam the roll button, because that roll animation doesn't really use, say, the angle of the floor. But while you're just holding circle and rolling, it's very dependent on, if it's a ramp or what angle you're rolling at. And so you might see a few times that I'll, like, while I'm going uphill, I'll spam the circle button to keep rolling and doing that animation rather than just do a continuous roll. It's almost reminiscent of like a Mario Odyssey, where you can just kind of hold the roll button, but it's faster to be, timing your jump with it or timing your button press with it.
And as we talked about a little bit earlier, the game, a lot of the movement of the game is momentum. And because of the paper crafts nature of the art aesthetic, it actually changes. I mean, a lot of these skips are just because some of the assets have collision. Similar to the roll, if we're on the ground, you might see little pieces of paper lifted up and whatnot, and you'll see Roast, strategically popping out of the roll because there are things that you can run over instead of things that you might snag you when you're rolling around.
Right. So there are a few times that I want to carry the momentum of the roll, and if you jump right out of a roll, you'll kind of keep that speed going. And so I'll prefer to try to jump and roll into that jump and then start rolling again, rather than just letting go of the roll button and then pressing it again. Like, jumping keeps that momentum going a bit longer. So this is one of those sequences that, yeah, you just have to know the pattern and what you're supposed to do, or else it can be kind of troublesome.
Yeah, well, you'll see these buttons or switches, I don't know what you want to call them, start spawning throughout the world in different places. There's some puzzle mechanics about getting them slotted in where they need to go, and then as soon as they're a part of the environment, Roast is actually pressing the button that's labeled on those buttons in game to manipulate, the terrain. The game does some pretty fun stuff as far as like puzzling and whatnot. Some good old puzzle platforming with those. They get their mileage out of those buttons.
Right, and in the next 2 levels, we'll see those used a lot. There are a couple, one of those finger gymnastics sections where it's like you have to hold some of the buttons, but if you hold others, then it'll make a platform drop, and so you have to like be very specific about which ones you're grabbing or you're pressing, and it's a pretty fun time. The black buttons they will be depressed when you press the button on your controller, and then the gray ones will stick out when you press the button on your controller. So this is a section that we would get actually a pretty big time skip since we're in New Game Plus. On an any % run, it would actually force you to like take a tram to another section of the level to get a picture of a monster. Oh, that was odd. A picture of a monster, but since the game knows we already have that picture, we can skip that whole section. We're reaching the end of the lab here. There's one last kind of puzzle that it's kind of one of those sequences where you have to remember which button goes where at what time. And I'm pretty slow at it usually. So one of those good time saves for people who want to run this game.
I've been enjoying this level so far. It's really cool looking.
Yeah, good. I'm glad.
It does have quite a different aesthetic from the game that we've seen previously. It does. It continues to get more and more out there, which is really fun. And honestly, I don't think any of the styles outstay their welcome a lot. I think that
they kind of keep things fresh as we roll through these levels. They start giving us, the enemies stay the same, but the environments and everything get real creative and real fun.
And so if you're wondering right now, the audio is not bad on your computer. For some reason, if you just do this section a little quicker than the game wants you to, the audio will start doubling up on itself. There's an enemy stuck in the environment here, and I don't know what to do about it.
No.
I might restart checkpoint. Yeah, let's do that really quick. That's never happened before.
What a little brat.
Yeah, we talked about it earlier. Yeah. The scraps really like to get themselves into places they shouldn't be.
Yeah.
And it's not even because we're breaking the game. It's this, can happen in totally normal combat.
Right.
Which can be mildly infuriating, especially when you're putting in a good pace.
Yeah, that one was not, we didn't do anything wrong there. The guy just decided he wanted to hang out inside the scrap of paper, and who are we to stop him, I guess?
Yeah, I mean, can you blame him? It looked pretty cozy.
All right, so we are finishing up the lab right here, and then we're gonna start the caverns. And the caverns is one of my favorite levels in the game. It just has a lot of interesting skips, and they come pretty quick. This game is just full of little tiny skips. There's nothing that's like, oh, here's, it's not Ocarina of Time where you use a bottle to skip to the end of the game, but it has some fun, just like, you skip every puzzle you can and every little challenge. And so this one has a lot of fun ones that, to toot my own horn, that I discovered a lot of these, and so I feel pretty good about it.
There you go.
Because St. Swithin's Moor, the level that we skipped completely earlier with the paper airplane, that was my pride and joy. I found a lot of skips in that level, and then now we don't even run that level, so my claim to fame is gone. So I wait here until, I don't know why, it's a superstition. I wait until this target is basically at the camera before I start moving, because otherwise you die to fall damage sometimes. And I don't understand why.
Is it a superstition if it works?
Yeah, exactly. It's just my benchmark that I'm like, I don't know when I'm actually supposed to go, but I go when the target hits the camera. So there goes our squeeze box. We've lost that for the rest of the run. That's why it's a half of an ability. So right here, you're supposed to go around a few little things, but if you jump in this corner, you actually get close enough to trigger a cutscene, and that spawns you at the top of the ledge, so you can just skip this whole section. And then instead of dealing with that tunnel, you just jump on the little gopher's head and move on.
Like Rose said before, the caverns have, they kind of just, the out of bounds, whatever you want to call them, skips, kind of just come fast and furious around here. I guess the whole game is a lot of it is just, hey, where can we stand? Where can we avoid this plane that triggers a cutscene? And usually if you're thinking, oh, maybe I can use this ability or get creative in some way, chances are it's probably good.
Right. So right here, I wait for the camera to shift before I throw that button, because when the camera shifts, the button often stays on this platform. And then we can use this to just skip this little... It doesn't save that much time, but it's enough to make it worth it. And then here, the Fast and Furious comes. We're going to grab this button for later. We're going to use the draft on that tunnel to get up onto this plant. We're going to use the draft through the tunnel to get up on the plant. That skips a huge, long puzzle that you have to flip a bunch of switches. And since we grabbed that button that I'm still holding in my controller, we're going to use that. We have to trigger 3 targets, really, to move this section on. So we're going to hit that first one. Go over here, grab this button to hit the second one, and then we'll grab, I guess, a pearl, whatever you call this, to hit the third one that's out in the darkness. You just kind of have to aim for it. And then this is a skip that I'm very proud of. So the water's going to drain. There's going to be a little bit of cutscene, and then the game wants you to go down this track that you might see on the bottom of the screen. And that'll trigger a cutscene. It'll trigger some dialogue. It'll trigger a whole bunch of stuff. So if we go around and do a roll jump, we can actually skip to the next section and trigger all of the cutscene and dialogue at the same time. Oh, I missed it. Well, I guess you'll just have to run the game yourself to see it. But it's a great skip. But yeah, we could still do it again, and it will still actually save a bit of time. Unless I die again. All right, we got this.
Easy. Rose has made most, if not, I think, all of the roll jumps so far during the run.
There we go.
They could just be a little tricky sometimes. There's like a decent amount of timing that you have to get the jump just correct, and then to start rolling at the right time for your character to essentially like lift up their legs and get you that last little bit, instead of getting hung up somewhere on the end of the ledge.
I have no evidence to go off of this, but these are all pixel perfect jumps for a roll jump, and that's why it's so difficult. No one has measured it, and therefore no one can tell me I'm wrong. So coming up, we're going to do another one of those rolling sections, and I'm going to grab a button just to stop my momentum. This is what Grados was mentioning earlier, that sorry, I need to focus for the finger gymnastics there. This is, I'll basically go up, I'll roll down a ramp, or like a half pipe, essentially. I'll roll down, and then the game will drop me off on a ledge that I'm supposed to roll up, and then lose momentum, and then roll back down. So I grab this button ahead just so that I can stop the momentum early, and it actually saves, you know, a few seconds just waiting for your character to slow down. Right here. So instead of going all the way up the ramp, we'll just use that button to cut it a little short.
It is fun, especially now that we have these like physical representations of the buttons in game. Keen viewers will notice Sawyer spamming square habitually during most cutscenes.
Yeah.
Which, you know, leads for some pretty interesting, fun visuals while these characters are trying to have a conversation.
Yeah, now that we have the buttons showing up, especially towards the end of the next level, there's one section in particular that you can just see me spamming it like crazy, because you just press square once to get the next line of dialogue, and then press it again to clear the dialogue. So you're just pressing square non-stop in this game. Anytime there's a chance of dialogue, I'm pressing it. Like right here, I'm pretty sure there's no dialogue, but I can't be sure, so I just press square.
There is, I believe it's in a level, or is it this level, Roast, that that can get you in a little bit of trouble with the tutorial squirrel.
That is actually towards the beginning of the game. There's one section where it'll have one line of dialogue, and so you have to press square twice and no more, because if you press it one more time, it'll start a new dialogue, and then it'll actually play cutscene with that dialogue and all that. So you have to be very intentional. So this right here is one of my favorite sections. This is a huge skip that I will give myself credit for figuring out. So if you jump off the ledge here, it'll spawn you on the platform. This is actually, you're supposed to do like 5 or 6 waves of enemies, but we're gonna use the camera. We're gonna jump a little bit so the camera actually hovers in the air just a tiny bit, because the camera actually will set up its hitbox. Oh wait, I need to start it over one more time. It'll start its hitbox in the air if you press the selfie button while you're in the air. We're going to use this button to get on top of the little ball, or the camera's going to die out. We're going to use this button to get up and over the ball, and then use the camera to get over this ledge, and this skips an entire... This is like the final boss of this section, essentially. And then once we get to the other side, since we're supposed to be doing this combat to free our Wendigo friend, once we get to the other side of the ledge, we're going to start the checkpoint, and that'll spawn us on this side of the ledge with our Wendigo friend, which is what we need to move on from this section. So that is a huge time save. It's one of my favorite skips in the game because I love using the camera. It's just such an awkward mechanic to use in this game, and it makes it so unique to me.
That's wild. So you don't fight the boss at all?
Right. I mean, there's no actual boss in this game, but it's like 3 or 4 waves of enemies, and then dialogue will be saying like, oh my gosh, the whole thing's gonna self-destruct. We need to be going quick. And we just skip the whole thing.
We're like, we've been going quick this whole time.
Yeah, exactly. So this is one of the few jumps that I mean, I'm not going to say one of the few, but it's a jump that I struggle with a lot. It's a pretty hard jump, and it doesn't save. It saves a good amount of time, so I'll probably give it like 3 or 4 tries, and then if that doesn't work, I'll do the combat as needed. But if I get it first try, then I'll pretend like it was completely intentional. So we got to jump around this barrier. Ooh. And we need to land on the ledge and get get a grip on the edge so that we can do an extra jump, and then that'll let us get around the plant and skip this section.
Does save
there we go.
Time, but it is pretty tricky, as you can see.
Yeah, that's a tough one.
Nice. 3rd time's the charm.
All right, and now
go ahead. Platforming through the rest of the level. If you want to take over the rest, it's all you.
Yeah, this is kind of the last that we'll have of our Wendigo friend, so we can see his or her parent has been trapped by the scraps, and that's what we've been working towards with them this whole time. And so we're about to say goodbye to our little friend once we're done with this level, but it's been worth it. He's been great. He hasn't fallen off any ledges and killed the run, so he's done well. He's earned his keep this run.
We sure do love him for that.
Yeah. Oh, I wasn't paying attention. I just walked off. Ooh, that's not good. I think I have to restart the checkpoint. So he went on to the next section, and I needed him to get past that. That's one of those small things, and another one of those that's never happened before. So we're at a total 3 never happened before, and I was anticipating 0. So this is good.
That's pretty impressive so far. Yeah.
A good GDQ debut for this game.
It is. It's been fun, I think.
All right, so we loved that earlier section so much that we just want one more quick run through of it.
Yeah, we weren't quite ready to say goodbye.
Oh, everyone was so happy that I got that jump that they wanted to see it again. It was an encore. I forgot that we have to do this jump again.
We are quickly, as Roast finishes up this, we're quickly approaching one of my favorite sequences of this game, where the visuals and just kind of the papercraft of it really start to shine here pretty soon.
I think you may be one level early.
Oh, I thought it was...
So now we're in the caverns, and then after the caverns, we're going to have to do the layer, and that after that is where things really start to pop off. We're just going to have to do it on the third time this time.
Here we go.
All right. We'll just do the combat really quick.
Like I said, it's pretty tricky. You're just trying to get up and around that barrier like Rose did before. and you know, it really feels like it's just by the pinky toe of the character. So we'll just finish up that combat real quick.
I had to find my Wendigo. I couldn't find him. All right. So now we're going to go on to the first ever scene, or the first time we've ever seen this section. We're going to get to the last puzzle with the Wendigo.
It's weird. I'm experiencing the craziest deja vu right now.
So yeah, that's the Wendigo's parent. That's what we're going for. That's what we're trying to save here. I'm sure this joke is.
Look,
not
honestly,
get
seeing.
old.
No, definitely not. What definitely won't get old is seeing the happy jumps of the Wendigo. Easily one of the best animations in this game, without question.
And if you haven't noticed, the Wendigo has an eyeball on its hand, and that's just because at one point you're supposed to edit the Wendigo, and I accidentally put an eyeball in its hand, and I just haven't fixed it. So it's just one of those things that you can keep editing all the characters as much as you want in this game.
Yeah, there's a fun section earlier in the game when you're supposed to correct a pig's eye structure.
Yeah, he's supposed
and in
to
my
have
opinion,
one
we just
eye.
make it worse.
Yeah. He's supposed to have one eye that's way bigger than the other, and so the game's like, hey, can you resize the eye to make it better? And we just shuffle the eyes on the pig's face every time. Because the game just needs you to grab it and let go, and so we just kind of let the eye go where it wants to go. It ends up either a cyclops, or sometimes it has vertical eyes. We'll see the pig later in the game. It'll make a reappearance.
And actually a really fun community found skip, actually. We'll get to that in a bit, but a pretty new skip too as well, right?
I'm not sure which one you're referring to, so...
the pig jump.
Oh, yes, yeah. So, in a couple levels, we'll play a section where we're going to ride the pig, and we're going to use the pig to get out of a section that essentially would take an extra 5 minutes, but we're going to jump over a door. And that's something that a community member that I believe is in France, who has never fully run the game or any of that, has just posted in our Discord, like, hey, I think I found a skip. And we're like, absolutely, you found a huge skip. And that's the glory of this game. There's just more skips to be found at all times.
That's awesome.
So here we're in the Scraps lair. We're in their home base now. And we're discovering, I'm sure the dialogue would tell us, but as you'll find out towards the end of this level, that the Scraps, since they know that the U exists and that we're controlling these characters, they're building their own version of a PlayStation because they want to control the world. And so this is where the game starts getting pretty meta. This is where we start having fun with it.
Before it's too late.
It wasn't meta enough for you already.
So this is a pretty difficult level in terms of there's a lot of platforming challenges, I would call, I guess, that require you to hold buttons in a certain order and let go of them in a certain order, since it's all based on, you know, these button presses. And so it can get kind of confusing with you sometimes.
It's also probably one of the most fun portions. Just, you know, just dialing in that rhythm, getting your jumps just right with your button presses, and the never-ending hand gymnastics that we do for any one run.
So if you aren't tired of me saying it yet, this jump skips about... This jump is going to skip about half of the level. We're supposed to go all the way around this room to get to this center platform, but if you roll jump, you can get here early, and you can notice that the enemies are going to roll in place because the game is still holding them there for this cutscene to play out. And then once this cutscene ends, they'll become actual enemies. But it's always fun to watch that guy just spin around in the air.
Here we're seeing them construct the gigantic DualShock. Those pieces are getting lowered into place as they construct their version of a PlayStation.
This is so funny.
Oh, absolutely. And then another one of these sections where it is just a lot of like, okay, memorizing the route, memorizing the button presses, and really emphasizing that tactile nature that we talked about earlier.
Right.
Yeah, I was gonna ask, like, what do the hands feel like after a run like this?
Generally, it feels like I've been playing Elden Ring for a few hours. So it's not too bad, but and also my mental's a lot better after this than playing Elden Ring. So it's much better. So here, yeah, you can see they're trying to stop us from stopping them making their controller, and the guy up top is jumping on a control stick and shifting the whole map around. If you're wondering why the map is shifting left and right, that's him using the camera, essentially. And he's going to get angry and press the home button. And now we go to their version of a PlayStation menu.
What?
And they're investing...
This is what I was...
Yeah.
Oh, this is what I was getting at earlier.
Infestation of our PlayStation.
They're in it, and we have to get them out of our home screen. It does some fun things with the menu. You might not have missed it. Roast was actively scrolling through the menu there to get to that one little scrap hidden behind some of the menu icons.
That scrap will hide and will kill a run if you forget he's there, because you'll be sitting there waiting for more to spawn, and you'll be like, "Where are they?"
There has been enough distraction. The use true power is to create.
And so here we're learning the scraps don't actually want to fight. They just want to be a friend. And so they just want to be customized like anyone else. And you can see all the lips that I've added to this scrap.
Looking cute.
And then you take a picture because they just want it to be involved too.
Aww.
And so here the camera's going to pan and you can see the outline. Like you can see my right trigger there. It's a whole little DualShock that we've been running around, with the buttons and the touchpad in the middle and the sticks.
How about that? Wow.
And so this is coming up is the level that Grados was talking about it really takes the paper aesthetic to the next level.
Yeah, just as soon as you were getting used to these caverns and the buttons and everything, now the game takes us inside of our own controller.
No, that's another level. You're mixing up some levels, but this one is we are going inside of. So the whole point of the story, as far as I'm aware, is that the messenger, the character you're controlling, contains a story. And so now we are going into the story that the messenger holds. And so we are, quote unquote, between the pages, which is what this level's called.
Stories of the messenger and
I believe this is also, correct me if I'm wrong, the beginning of the third act?
Yes. So this is what we call the third act, which to me is a pretty easy act. There's two fairly difficult levels, but this is where you feel like you're on the final stretch now.
The tale of the messenger's delivery.
And this is where it's all meta and all weird. There's no normal levels for the rest of the game.
The pages. Too many possibilities.
Yeah, we're definitely approaching the tail end of this run. This level is particularly fun or interesting because it's a lot of just rote memorization. As you see, as Roast is rolling around, the level is quite literally unfolding in front of him. And so it's just knowing where you need to go, where you need to jump, at what time, to try and just keep pushing the level forward in a very literal sense.
Right, yeah. So the level won't start spawning until you get to the correct kind of areas. And so it's a lot of faith in your memory to be like rolling really quickly and be like, okay, I believe it's the route it's gonna keep going this way and it's not gonna turn for another couple seconds and stuff like that. So here we're gonna use the wind ability. These are post-it notes that we can make bridges with. I don't know why, it's always just tickled me. I love using the post-it notes. And this is just pattern memorization. You gotta swipe back towards you. Oh, that's never happened before.
Try not to knock yourself off the ledge while you do it.
And then it'll do it one more time with 3 of them. And you have to just remember the order that they go. Oh, well, there's a clock first that my brain wants to be able to do a quick cycle here, but you can't. You gotta wait for it to go back.
And then we're using the glue on the underside of the post-it there to help us get across. And then we'll get to the another portion of the memorization of this level right here to construct ourselves some platforms to run across. The game's aesthetic never ceases to change, and in my opinion, doesn't quite disappoint. That is a really tough one.
Yeah, it's an interesting jump.
It's a real
actually kind of worked there.
Leap of faith, if you want to explain it, Rose.
Yeah, so that ring that you can see around the bridge there, the game wants you to run in a full circle, which obviously is a long time. So if you're lucky and or better than me, you can jump and get kind of in the center of that ring, and that will be close enough to spawn all of the pages. And once that full ring is spawned, then the bridge will let you kind of move on. And so you always kind of try and jump into the middle of the ring to spawn all of them, and it's just a leap of faith that when you land back down that the floor will be there. And it wasn't. So my faith was unfounded. And I will give a quick little shout out to one of my buds, Donzo. Loves trying to chase cycles. That's when I told him I was speedrunning, he was like, oh, what about the cycles? Are you gonna make cycles? And so that's, I hope he appreciates the cycles. So this is just one of those small jumps that I just can't live without going for, even though it doesn't save that much time, but I have to go for it every time.
It's the emotional core, one of the emotional cores to this run. Did you really set world record pace if you didn't make that jump? Probably not. It's
true. If you didn't do all the flex skips, then it doesn't really matter. It's not a real run of the game. We should put that in the rules of the speedrun. In New Game Plus, you have to skip this jump. And so these can be kind of finicky since you're going off bounce pads while you're a ball. A lot of the time, it'll just like launch you into space and you have no idea why, and there's nothing you can do about it. But yeah, we'll keep going. It's just a lot of kind of typical platforming. This level is probably the most fun on a casual run to me because, I mean, I know I haven't done a casual run, I guess, but in the sense of a casual run, it's probably would be the most fun since it's just the most straight up platformer level. And I do love me some platformers.
I've been trying to figure out the jump pads in this game for quite some time and what they're supposed to... Are they supposed to be stamps? Is that what?
I think so.
Okay.
I have no idea what they're supposed to be.
It's just another fun quirk of the game, trying to... You know, they let you could technically probably build every single level out of real paper in this game.
Yeah, theoretically.
And trying to spot little different things, I don't know, is a fun side activity. Yeah, to the game.
I believe that's the last we will see of our GDQ clouds while I died, so I just wanted to get one more quick look at them.
Oh, they're so beautiful. Look at this.
Amazing.
They took more time than I think either of us care to admit to make yesterday.
Last night we were sitting there drawing and I was like, oh, that G looks horrible.
Oh no, you gotta move the Q a little bit over here.
Yeah, the big fear was when the game gives you the option to customize the clouds, since it's layered, there's a chance that you just grab like the G or the Q and then it won't, hold on to the rest of the cloud. And so I was afraid that for the rest of the run, we would just see the letter G floating around instead of a whole cloud saying GDQ.
Games.
But hey,
just games.
If I'm proud of anything this run, it's that the cloud survived.
Facts.
Oh, I always want to make it. I always want that cycle, and I never do.
Gonzo's getting to you.
Yeah. I hear people in my head saying, you gotta make the cycle. You gotta make it.
I have to say that this is one of the worst parts of this level. Because it's not immediately clear which way they fold in and out. And following those paths it seems like a nightmare.
Yeah, I think Between the Pages is definitely a hard one to read if you don't know where you're going like right away. It's like, what is this supposed to be when you're going through it?
Pun intended.
I don't even know what I said, but yes.
But hard one to read.
Oh, yeah. I meant that. That's the high quality commentating that you can come to expect.
I think
So we're going into the desert, and this level is where Yanis, who I believe is in France, found a skip and then just faded into the night. There's a lot of just, ghostly people in this community. That the new Birdman who found all the skips and then just moved on. Yanis, who showed up for a couple weeks just to say, hey, look at these huge skips, and then never say anything again. There's a lot of just people that come and contribute, and it's just like, that's all I need.
They're like ships in the night.
Yeah. So
previously, you got it.
Yeah, so normally what you have to do is there's 3, I believe, mountains in this level, and you're supposed to go to all of them. One of them unlocks a pig that you can ride. One of them unlocks a route you can take, and then one of them unlocks a door that you're supposed to go through. But we've since learned that all you need to do is unlock the pig, and then you can jump over the door. And so instead of doing this whole level, you just need to do one mountain, and you just need to go to the fastest one, which is this one, that you can get kind of an awkward jump up a hill to skip the whole platforming challenge. So here's our pig. He's going to get us over the door. It might take a couple tries, but I've been getting it lately, and now I've cursed it. There we go. Easy. And so the pig will go away, but then he just pops up again. And so we have a little bit, reminder of the old auto-scroller from early in the game. And we are reaching kind of, not the end, but we're like 2 levels away. And this is probably, there's this level and then 1 or 2 more that are actual levels, and the rest are just going to be kind of cutscene levels.
Fun screenshot moment there to show us riding into the sunset.
I haven't figured out, but there is some timing that works better to make the pig so that it doesn't bounce off the ground like that when you land. But if you haven't noticed, I believe this is the pig that we met, not the pig that we reorganized their eyes, but this is the pig that we met earlier in Maple Fields. And they have since earned their tusks, which I don't even really know what that means in the game, but they have tusks now, and the game says it in a quick dialogue, I believe.
Very proud of this pig.
This pig has taken us.
Should we all be so lucky to earn our
places.
tusks? Pig seal of approval.
Aww.
The real pig was the friends we made along the way.
And here we're just a lot more of the
abilities, platforming through the rest of the level, trying to get from point A to point B.
You get some fun moments here about, in every game you got to figure out what's behind the waterfall. In this case, it's the path forward.
Oh, I'm glad I made that. I don't usually make that jump. Yeah, there is actually a bunch of secrets in this game, obviously, all the collectibles and everything, and one of those collectibles is behind that waterfall. So I know there's that website of like, is there something behind the waterfall? And this game is a hard yes. The one waterfall definitely has secrets.
Gaming tradition.
So if I'm lucky, I can skip. There's a dialogue section here that's going to come up, and I believe. Oh, I skipped it way faster than usual. Okay, that was a good little skip. So now I can have the dialogue. Normally I would be standing on the ledge right now, and the skull says this dialogue, and then I can start flying. So this whole time I'm flying here is a little bit of a head start.
And then much like those earlier sections in the game that we were using paper airplane for skips, Roast here is flying and swiping as fast as possible to activate the wind to get us through this level as quick as possible.
Right, yeah. This whole level this whole section is just me holding the left stick and swiping up over and over.
Remix.
But yeah, this is a pretty standard, just kind of go through it. There's nothing too exciting. I mean, it's exciting in terms of what's going on, but it's not exciting in terms of skips. There's nothing too interesting that you can do.
Yeah, it's like you're escaping the Cave of Wonders or something.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah, it actually reminds me of in Kingdom Hearts 1 or 2, the Aladdin level. You're like doing like a big escape on the flying carpet. And I am a Kingdom Hearts fan, and I'm proud to admit it. I'm not ashamed.
Listen, we have Kingdom Hearts on GDQ a lot,
Yeah.
so you're in good company.
Won't you help them finish their
I can explain equal amounts of this game and the story of Kingdom Hearts, but I love both of them.
There's an interesting, I guess, strat that we just passed as Roast was finishing that level before we got into this cutscene. It doesn't look like he attempted it this time.
Because I fail it every time now.
I don't know, it doesn't save that much, but you can basically trigger the cutscene just slightly earlier by jumping off of your paper airplane and dying in the right area for the game to let you basically respawn and immediately hit the cutscene, then fly that extra 5 meters.
Right. Yeah, it doesn't save that much time, and every time I've tried it in the past 6 months, I've failed it the first few times, so I didn't even go for it. But here is the level. This is called the Mislaid Message, and this is the level that Grados was talking about, that we have, throughout the game, the character Atois has thrown items into our controller to throw back, and at the end, while they were riding that paper airplane, they flew out of the TV screen into my controller. And so now this level is technically taking place inside of my controller, and so as you can see, there are a lot of sections that will be done by like angling my controller around. And so this is supposed to be one of those kind of marble games where you're moving the controller around to guide a marble through the level. And so you would normally be running along the right side of the level while the marble is on the left side of the level. But we are going to jump over this shield and just run along the marbles track instead of our own track. And since we're doing that, there's actually a lot of items that don't have any collision for our body because the game expects the marble to be there. And so we can just skip through all of this, just roll right by instead of having to do weird motion puzzles.
It's pretty fun. Also, it looked like Rose just ran straight through it. There is a pretty infuriating, in my opinion, portion to that last sequence there, where he's trying to make a jump over from one area into the other, and randomly, we don't quite know why or when or what you have to do to avoid it, a crow will randomly try and scare your character away, and frequently like mess up the jump, make you restart the section, or just play an animation, and you have to keep trying and trying until it decides not to scare you.
Super lucky that I got it first try there. But yeah, there is a section where you might have seen I jumped and rolled along the top of a cage. I've kind of gotten it a bit down now, where I believe what you need to do is jump onto the cage and start your roll animation. And when you start the roll animation, the bird won't scare you fast enough to knock you off of it, and so that you'll actually make it to the other side of the little cage before the bird scares you. But yeah, it can sit there and bother you for a solid minute or so, just like rolling into the same bird over and over. You're like, just let me through. So yeah, these little sections are just by wiggling my camera around to make things slide in and out.
Another fun use of the DualShock's features. And I believe, Rose, if you want to explain it, that's a fun little skip.
Yeah,
where
so
you're technically supposed to be using the slider, but the rails do just have collision on their own.
Right.
So if you can jump just quite in the right way, we don't even need to use any of the sliding bits.
Right. It's theoretically possible to just run along the railing the entire time, but I'm not nearly precise enough to do that reliably. So this is what I would consider the last real level of the game. This is like actually has this is what I would call kind of the final exam. This is definitely the hardest in terms of just platforming, and then after this we're just going to kind of walk in a straight line with no hazards, and then the game will be done. So here we are going through, we're kind of breaking the fabric of the story. You can see platforms flying around, everything is just getting, it's too meta. If you've ever seen Everything Everywhere All at Once, they talk about how your brain is a clay pot, and if you go too crazy with all the multiverses, that the clay pot will start getting cracks. This level is the clay pot starting to get cracks and leaking. So there's enemies and just random stuff going all over the place. The fabric of the game is falling apart, essentially. There's a messenger you can see up at the top. That's like, there's other messengers now.
Also incorporates, I think, some of the more infuriating platforming bits of these metallic, I don't know what you would call these bits.
It's almost like in school, if you ever had those folders that had the 3D effect with like if you slid your finger across it, it would go whoop, whoop. Those like holographic folders, it's that material almost, and you can see the controllers like shifting left and right, and that's all controlled by me moving the gyroscope of the DualShock. Or are you saying these things? These guys.
These are the ones that
if you move the controller too quickly with those like metallic strips, they'll like flex and throw you off of them. You have to be like very slow and precise with them.
Also on a casual run, it's not immediately apparent how you moving the controller makes them move, which can cause some problems.
Yeah, all of the motion activated items in this level basically they're not random, but it feels random. Like you'll move it left, and some of the platforms will move left, and some of them will move right, and it's just like you kind of learn where to position your controller to make it work, but it can be very confusing. It hurts your brain when you're playing it because you're like, wait, I moved the controller and now it's not working when it should have been working. All right, we are quickly approaching the end of this level, and then it's maybe another minute, and then we are done with the game. And the ending is worth sticking around for.
That's a way to put it.
Yeah.
Do a little Marble Madness action here until we approach infinity. I don't quite know what's happening at this point.
I don't really know either. It's a wild one. So now, this level is called the U. And since we are the U, we will see it starts getting a little weird. So here are two narrators, and I think this is supposed to be like kind of like the end credits where it's showing everything we've gone through and what we've done.
Uncertainty and found your own true path. But where is your friend, the you?
Where
Did
is
they
the
become
you?
lost?
No.
Who is the you?
They are still with us.
You are the you.
You stayed.
You was inside of
with
us
Tuan.
this whole time.
You helped and guided them on their journey. Together, you created a new tale. The message has been written.
But it remains.
So we've got this
undelivered
quick cutscene, and then it's
unread.
mostly just a walking simulator for the rest of
Right.
the run. The last 2 minutes of the run, 1 minute here. There's some very, very interesting visuals of these papers sliding in, and in this ethereal realm of between the game and us, where the messenger is finally going to deliver the message to us, to the you, to everyone watching the stream.
To all the boys and girls on Christmas. But this section does take away the ability to roll, so the only way to make it faster, and it's the only section in the entire game that uses this kind of physics rule, but when you're jumping, if you're on a downslope, it'll actually push you forward, as you can see, so you can skip ahead a bit, and if you're on an upslope and you jump, it'll push you backwards. And so there's really not much you can do to optimize this section except for like knowing where to jump, and that's just all by feel for me. I don't have any metrics on where the best time to do that is. And now we can see the U. So we're walking up out of the television screen to meet the U, and you can see them holding the controller, and those are my sticks and my buttons that I'm pushing. So the messenger has now left the game and is now saying hello to you. And so now you go
What
back
a
in the
trip.
game to, I don't even know what, to break everything. And so if you were to start a brand new game with a new save, you would actually get to this screen. It's going to show like a kind of a blueprint. And that is the splash screen right here is where it would say like Media Molecule, like the logo and everything. And so we're breaking the opening of the game here. And so I'm going to walk through this portal. Sorry, not to cut you off. I'm going to walk through this portal. It's going to show a cutscene, and time is when the cutscene goes black. So it's white, there's a cutscene, and time.
GG.
Thank you. That was a fun run.
Oh my gosh, it was. And you know, not only the visuals are amazing, all of the sound effects for the paper were fantastic. Like,
Right. I love this game. And so it's not part of the run, but you have now the messenger. This is the story that they were telling. And this is where Grados says it gets a little creepy because it has like a little kid voice. It's just kind of, it makes you
very
feel some
uncanny valley.
things. But yeah, this will go through the entire game, and it'll just kind of, it's a whole long thing. But at the end, it'll give you the blueprints to make your character. And then it'll say, you know, hey, I've exited the world. Make me in real life. Make me in your world. And so it invites you to make your paper mache version of the character.
yeah, I was going to ask you if maybe you could link the website that you were showing me the other day.
I can show it right here. So in the pause menu throughout the game, you can take pictures. There are some items you might have seen it throughout the game because I haven't 100%ed this. But there are some characters throughout the game that'll be pure white. And if you take a photo of them, it'll give you the instructions on how to make them. And you can download and cut out the instructions, and you can see where it says the link right there. So yeah, I believe the website's still up. I believe everything's still active. Fingers crossed. It has been a few
Quite
years.
a few years
Yeah.
now. Well, that was fantastic. Thank you again so much for running the game, Lonely Roast, and Grados for being here on comms. Do either of you have any like shout outs, comments you want to say before we wrap up tonight's episode?
Yeah, I mean, I think Grados would agree that we're big. We helped, helped the CSU Colorado State esports team. I feel like that's a big shout out. We'd love to see more people watching those games and supporting that. But other than that, I think it's twitch.tv/lonelyroast, twitch.tv/grados_. Streams have been a little less frequent, but now after this, I'm super into this game again. I want to keep playing it. So I encourage everyone here, join the Tearaway Discord, join the Little Big Planet speedrunning Discord, and start running. And I guarantee you can get some good runs. You can get some good times out there. It's not as hard as it might look.
Guaranteed top 10 placement for the next 7 people running the game.
Yeah, there's only 3, so all you have to do is do a little faster, and you're top 3 immediately.
Amazing. All right, friends. Well, that is going to wrap it up for tonight's episode of Time Capsule. If you're watching this on YouTube from the future and you had fun with us, be sure to press the like button on the video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And as always, if you're interested in catching our shows live, you can find us at twitch.tv/gamesdonequick. I will link both of the runner and commentator for Tearaway in the chat. So Lonely Roast and Grados_. Make sure you follow them if you had fun. But I've been your host, Smooth Operative. Thank you for watching. If you're interested in submitting your own speedrun to this show, you can type !time capsule in our Twitch chat for more info on that. And if you have any questions about the show at all, you can always find me here on Twitch as well, twitch.tv/smoothoperative. But yeah, make sure to tune in tomorrow, friends, 7 p.m. Eastern time for Mercy Kill, followed by Passion Project. Again, thank you so much, Lonely Roast, Grados, for being here. Have a beautiful day or night, everyone. And we